On his podcast, Inside the Green Room, he was asked about which player is better. Take a listen.
Overall, I think LeBron, there's nothing, so we've never seen anything like him. Not only is he a great player and a great scorer, but he makes his teammates better. And he's a great playmaker. He's a great teammate. He's a great leader, on and off the floor. There's nobody better. So, and he's been doing it for so long. His longevity is unbelievable. Obviously, Kawhi's unbelievable talent has grown and emerged as one of the prolific defenders and now a prolific scorer. And, you know, he still has load management with his knee and stuff like that, so we don't know how long he'll do it for. And he's great, too, and he's still learning how to become, you know, one of those great leaders. And he's doing a good job so far with the Clippers. But, you know, for me, you know, Bron has always been, you know, the best player in the game.
Nick, I assume you agree with Danny Green?
Well, yeah, well, and Danny Green's talking about it, you know, over a long term, and over a long term, it's not a fair fight. And so we even if we just mean right here, this moment, middle November 22nd, whatever day it is, 2019, LeBron is clearly better than Kawhi, and arguably the best player in basketball. I feel he's still the best player in basketball. Now, if it were a question, LeBron or Giannis this season, I think that is a debatable point. And you could argue, I think you could create an equal argument on both sides of the coin. But LeBron versus Kawhi, it's a 10-7 round. It's not even a 10-8 round. And even, it is puzzling to me the argument that could be on the other side of it. Even last season, last regular season, LeBron's worst regular season, least effective regular season since his rookie year. Kawhi, at least his second best regular season. 2016 with the Spurs was his best. LeBron, last regular season, averaged more points, rebounds, assists, shot a higher percentage from the field, and only played 5 fewer games. And you say, oh, well, LeBron, he played 55 to Kawhi's 60. So it wasn't until it wasn't even until, we can't say the postseason this was a discussion. It wasn't until the final 2 weeks of the postseason that Kawhi Leonard was ever discussed as being in contention for best player in the world status. So to me, we know who's been better this year. We know, as Danny talked about, even though Danny won 2 championships with Kawhi on 2 different teams, who he already sees as the better player. And we know who's been the better player at every step of the way. So to me, Ryan Hollins, this is a very, very simple question.
Listen, man, for one, my brother Danny Green, he loves wearing purple and gold. So that's the smart move, Chris.
Okay,
we've been in the locker room, so you know the answer to that question. I'm going to judge just by who's the guy wearing the belt. Who has the title right now? Right now, that's Kawhi Leonard. So let's go down and check the boxes off. Impact on game. LeBron James has one of the greatest impacts we've ever seen. He can score. He can make everybody better. He can defend when he chooses. Kawhi Leonard doesn't turn that defensive button off. He's arguably one of the greatest defenders, if not the greatest defender we've ever seen of all time. Offensively, he can go out and create his own shot against anybody. And we've seen it in the last 2 minutes of games. If we want to take a knock on LeBron, and you know I'm a LeBron guy with you, LeBron struggles because he doesn't have a go-to move. Kawhi gave you that 1-2 dribble, step-back shot that he will hit in the big moments. Does he close games? We just talked about that. We saw the Philadelphia shot after shot after shot. Kawhi would go into Kawhi mode last year and just turn it on. Head-to-head. Let's say to start the season, what have you done for me lately? Kawhi's 1-0 against LeBron. In the Finals MVP, he shut down LeBron James. He's the only guy. He's the only guy that we will say can guard LeBron head up. Now, obviously, you guard LeBron with the collective number of defenders, but one-on-one, LeBron James shies away from Kawhi Leonard. And like I said, first off, he's the champ, brother. I don't know how you take that NBA championship belt and Finals MVP away from Kawhi Leonard right now. And Nick, you're putting so much ownership on the regular, like you're confusing me on the regular season, Nick.
No, it's not just the regular season. It's that up to this point, all we have this year is the regular season. Last year, LeBron was not in the postseason due to injury and due to the team. But it's very interesting.
Whoa, you wouldn't put that on LeBron's head? You wouldn't put that on LeBron James?
Well, I would say he has to take partial ownership. And yes, listen, through 15 years, he never got hurt. In year 16, he got hurt. His team missed the playoffs. They tried to trade for Anthony Davis. It fell apart. Last postseason, Kawhi was better. LeBron didn't qualify. Kawhi was better. But we cannot have such recency bias. And by the way, but not enough recency bias to care about this year, where it's not even close, where LeBron's played every game, where Kawhi's missed 5, where this month Kawhi's shooting 35% from the field, has as many turnovers as assists. But you also mentioned, end of the games. Yeah, Kawhi did hit that great shot against Philly. Almost as great as the 2 LeBron hit the previous postseason. One against the Pacers and one to rip the Raptors' hearts out. Yeah, the year before, the last time
2 years
he
ago.
was in the postseason. And but you brought up something from 6 years ago, that Finals MVP.
True.
So let's just talk about that just for one moment before I yield the floor to Canty. It is so interesting to me the different ways everyone is judged from LeBron. Kawhi Leonard won Finals MVP for a series in which the first 2 games he scored 9 points and 9 points. LeBron James's biggest blemish on his resume is having 1 game in the NBA Finals against the Mavericks where he scored 8. Kawhi Leonard won Finals MVP for holding LeBron James to 28 points on 56% shooting, on 51% from the field. Because that's what LeBron did in those NBA Finals. An NBA Finals where Kawhi Leonard didn't average 20, but someone had to win Finals MVP, so he got it. So going back to those history books doesn't necessarily play in your favor. Going back to right now doesn't play in your favor. Going back to these very small window in time, the window of after Giannis's regular season, after Kevin Durant the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, once Kevin Durant got hurt, once Giannis got knocked out, midway through the Eastern Conference Finals until the end of the NBA Finals, for those 9 games, Kawhi Leonard was the best player in basketball. It's the only time in his life he's been the best player in basketball.
Yeah, you go back to that Finals when LeBron was with the Heat and Kawhi was with the Spurs, and you're talking about shutting LeBron James down. It didn't quite play out that way. Did he limit LeBron James? Absolutely. But that just goes with the standard that we judge LeBron James with versus everybody else. Now, Kawhi Leonard, what he did in the postseason with the Raptors last year, that was special. There's no denying that. But up until what we saw last year, LeBron James had been in the NBA Finals for the better part of this decade every single year. So LeBron James, in terms of the longevity, I think you have to give him the nod. But in looking at their actual impact this year, Kawhi Leonard has played in 10 of the 15 games his team has played in. LeBron James is always available for the Lakers right now. LeBron James has impacted the game not only on the offensive side, but on the defensive side. To me, that's the biggest step that this Lakers team has made.
That's new, Chris.
Yeah, you can say that's new, but LeBron James has been a part of leading the best defensive team in the NBA right now. They have the best defensive rating. You can't argue that. And LeBron James...
Does he lead them defensively, though?
He does lead them defensively. I'm watching the game.
I might say Avery Bradley a little more to start it off. I might say Dwight Howard as far as leading them defensively.
With Dwight Howard and with Anthony Davis, those guys are going to offer a rim protection. But LeBron James, in terms of being able to guard pretty much the primary ball handler for every team, I think that kind of versatility is what the Lakers are going to need, especially once we get to the postseason. Now, I think that this will all get worked out once we get to the playoffs because the Clippers and the Lakers are going to be on a collision course to play one another. But in terms of how both players are playing right now, I don't think there's any comparison. LeBron James is the better player.
Both Lakers and Clippers play tonight, both of them. I am certain LeBron's playing. I got no idea if Kawhi's playing. And you mentioned, we talked about all these things without mentioning something that strikes me as relevant. This year, LeBron James leads the NBA in assists. The whole league, all the point guards, all the players, leads them in assists by a wide margin. Playmaking is a big part of being a great player. Kawhi Leonard has 1 double-digit assist game. In his, not this season, in his career. And you can say, oh, Kawhi Leonard shows up to defend every night. Well, he used to. That definitely was the case for him, especially before he had to be his team's leading option. But I'm old enough to remember 9 days ago against the Houston Rockets where they're playing a zone defense, and when they're not playing a zone defense, Kawhi Leonard is standing in the corner guarding P.J. Tucker because they could have used somebody to stop Harden from dropping, I think it was 47 on their head, but Kawhi was not game for it that evening. So if we want to pick, again, if we want to pick the window of May of 2019 into June of 2019, Kawhi gets the nod. Every other month of this man's life, including this one, LeBron James is the far better player.
Let me challenge this to both of you guys. And Chris, you know this is a little bit of fool's gold. Now, we're going to draw away from what the Lakers done. They've been great. They've been defending. They beat 3 teams over 500. They beat 3 basketball teams. So while you want to say LeBron's this amazing defender, Lakers are, and they are, let's not discredit that. They beat 3 teams over 500. Secondly, Kawhi Leonard plays off the basketball. He's not the type of player. It's not his DNA to have assists. I don't think you diminish. You cannot diminish a guy playing off the ball versus a guy on the ball and challenge assists. I would obviously give LeBron the nod there, but we have to find a way to match these guys up head to head. And last I checked, how's LeBron's body feel from playing late into June?
Well, what do you mean?
Because he didn't play. Because he didn't.
After 8 straight 100-game seasons, you're right. One time he didn't. Kawhi had a 60-game season one year into June, and now he's played 2/3 of the basketball games. And for a guy who's not on the ball a lot, 5 turnovers per game, which equals his assists per game in the month of November, finds a way to turn the ball over a lot for someone who's not on the ball. Listen, Kawhi is a top 5 player in this league when healthy. He's not even healthy right now. He's right now the 4th best player in his own city.
Nick. That's out of control, Nick. That's out of control. If he's healthy, he's the best player. Hey, how do we neglect what this man did in the playoffs last year?
If he's healthy, what we're seeing right now is not the same version of Kawhi Leonard that we saw in the NBA playoffs. So we can't assign him that for the 2019-2020 season.
I'm also excited to know that you believe Dirk Nowitzki at one point was the best player in the world, that Steph Curry was the best player in the world, that all these guys, while